Jeff, you were actually set up at San Diego. You got one-on-one time with comic hunters, dealers, artists coming up to the booth, buying stuff. What was it like?
I mean, look, San Diego Comic-Con had extra energy this year. It really did.
It really did.
And we've talked, we've heard, not having people disappear from the show floor to go get those signatures or announcements, or just photo opportunities with with actors and actresses really helped keep the energy constant for the entire time. And that doesn't happen. I mean, the general swing at a convention for an exhibitor is not even always high. There's just like a decent energy. And then there's real lows because it just gets quiet because you just know something's going on and the floor is empty.
Have to assume it's because of the writer's strike and the actor's strike.
100%. And that's what I was insinuating to earlier is just that people just stayed there and they had a few extra bucks. And I haven't seen a convention where people were digging through the boxes in the front just to get back issues like that for probably 8+ years now. Originally, I thought it was maybe 5 years. And then I started really thinking, when was the last time people were really digging for these back issues? And it has to be at least 8 years where people are trying to fill in holes. Key books, there was the keys that people were speccing on, and people were still buying keys. But the back issues, it was really fun to see people digging through those books.
I went digging. I got like my favorite character in all of comic books. I got Sinestro's first appearance in Green Lantern number 7, I think. I'm not even 100% sure what number it is. I'm just trying to acquire every Green Lantern issue ever, and I finally pulled the trigger on a low-grade copy of the first appearance of Sinestro at San Diego Comic-Con. And it kind of sounds nice hearing you explain it that, like, at previous San Diego's, this was my first time, that there were times when people would not be there for a little bit, when everyone would kind of disperse. Is that how you're making it? That's how you're making it sound. And I know from this experience this past, or 2 weeks ago now, that it was just wall-to-wall people all weekend.
Yeah, and, I got to say, a couple things from your statement make me really, really proud. First of all, I feel like a mama bird who's pushed his little bird out of the nest to fly because I believe there has to be at least 1 or 2 podcasts we've done where you said you would never own that book because you didn't think you would ever buy a key book like that. And I think only in like the last 3 months, that's a short amount of time, you are now buying the first Sinestro.
And I opened it up first.
You want to know something
to
even compound on that? Upon entry of this room, because we're going to get into some coverage about this brand new independent company. Spoiler, Ryan's wearing a distillery shirt, but he has a comic book to talk about this publisher. And he said when he was taking the pictures of it to prep for the show, he doesn't want to open the comic out of the bag because he wants to submit it.
Oh, that's interesting. We should talk about
We'll get into all that later.
Yeah.
That's a whole segment.
Hey, we're going to wait on that. All right, so stay tuned. So that's amazing. Okay, but I also think it's amazing that was in a back issue bin, Green Lantern 7.
I should remember who sold it to me because they had a very, very great booth with a lot of really, really pretty Silver Age books. Even me, and I'm not one who likes to drool over old books, but I was like, these colors are really good. There's a very strong lack of spine ticks on some of these books.
The podcast is working.
It only works on Green Lantern, and once I get them all, I'm done. I'm out.
Wait. Yeah. That's how it starts. Always starts. But you do mention something. I never really thought about this because I knew, lack of celebrity appearances, less people on the show floor, let alone in the comic section, which is typically like you have to go around a corner, through a door, under into the basement section. Like it's a comic book convention, but the comic books are like in the corners of the room. And knowing that members weren't going to the celebrity section and dropping $100 after standing in line for 2 hours, an hour, sometimes even longer, depending on the celebrity, means that there's more money for them to buy at the show. And if you're at a comic book show, more likely, increases the odds that they're going to come out with some funny books. And I like that.
It's great when you can come to a comic show, and you actually spend your money on comics. Like, it's called Comic Con, and comic books are usually a third-tier thought for a lot of attendees, but it was nice to see having that money that they still thought about comics. They're like, oh, you know what? I have this money. Let's go back to where it started, and let's put it into a $20 book, a $30 book, and buy a few. And that's exactly what I saw, and I haven't seen that in a very long time.
I got a chance to hunt with so many of my homies, Davis Ryder, Eris Quinones, even Destiny FOMO. We did a live stream and took a bunch of people around the comic book area, bought some really cool stuff. But we didn't just go down there to drop a bunch of awesome San Diego Comic-Con drops. We went down there to debut the Ash Can for Crashdown, which is in previews right now, and you can order issue number 1. Support Ryan and I's first published work. We also did some of our first signings. Shout out Michael Calero. Shout out Massive.
Yeah, that was a weird experience that, looking back, it definitely feels like a surreal video that I watched somebody else live through. But we did a pretty cool signing at the Hero House as well with Stashley, with Jay Stash himself, like he talks to the big people, the big boys, the celebrities. And it made me feel pretty cool. It was a cool time.
Yeah, it was nuts. We were sitting next to like Aaron Bartling doing signings at one point, sitting next to Drew Zucker at one point, so Micah, just like hanging out with these amazing creatives and kind of getting a taste of what their day was like. We also chatted with Todd McFarlane a lot.
Yeah, he's not kidding. We had several different conversations with Todd of varying relevance to comic books. He got into some weird topics that I wouldn't think somebody would talk about.
We should talk about one of those topics.
Do you
dude.
want to? You want to tell that story?
Dude, he tells that story to so many people.
To strangers, like the first time he meets them. So yeah, I guess we can.
A little bit of like Gary V vibes in a good way. I love me some Gary V, but like he's definitely someone who likes to inspire people when he has a brief moment to chat. And he's definitely someone who loves the grind, who loves the hustle. And I don't think I've actually told you this, Jeff.
No.
So this is a conversation we had. We're in this party. Image Comics hosted this party. They have all their toys around. Todd McFarlane's making his rounds. And this is like an invite-only type of thing. They got food. They have donuts. They had fresh tacos and things like that. And Todd comes up, and we're chatting amongst ourselves. He walks up. And obviously, the conversation is now about, meeting Todd, because you only get so much time with him. And he starts getting into the grind. I don't remember how it came up.
CGC signings.
Oh, I mentioned that he was going nuts doing the CGC signing because of how long it must have taken him. So he takes it upon himself to tell me this story, and a bunch of people, right? We're there with AKA Mr. Bolo. Shout out Adam, the Whatnot team, Davis Ryder, Jem Mint, Fiona, they're all there. And Todd says, I sat down and I started doing the signings, and I look at all the boxes, and I am starting to do the math in my head. I'm talking as if I was Todd. And he's telling me in the group that he's figuring out he's going to be here for days. Like he knows how long it takes him to do one signature. He has this down to a science. So he's doing the math, and he's realizing he's got to buckle up. He's going to be doing this committed task for a long time. So then he says something I didn't expect. He goes, here's the thing, Tom. When you're in it, you got to be in it. You got to do the grind. You got to focus. And I'm over here watching employees, sip their coffee. I look over here and someone's eating a snack. And you know what that means? Let me teach you something. When you put things in this hole, stuff comes out of the other hole. If you want to prevent stuff from coming out of the other hole, you don't put things in this hole. And he's literally telling us that when he's doing the grind as Todd McFarlane, he doesn't eat. He doesn't drink. He just works. And that way, he doesn't have to take breaks. So when lunch came and everyone's like, hey, we're going to go get some food. We're taking lunch breaks. He goes, so who's going to be here with me? Because I'm not taking a break. And they had to restructure the whole signing so that they could have employees at CGC take shifts to take breaks because Todd wasn't stopping.
That sounds so miserable. You're going to be there for hours just signing. And on top of that, you don't get food or drink or break. So it's like, Todd, I'm glad Todd's put that on himself. But yeah, that doesn't sound like something I would do. But I'm no Todd McFarlane. So I guess that tracks.
Well, hold up here, though. How much money is that lost to him if he takes just, say it takes 6 minutes of your time to get up, stretch, go down the hall, use the restroom, come back, wash your hands. 6 minutes of Todd signing is what? Let's just say he does 3 seconds of signature. Todd McFarlane, swipe. Maybe 5. We're talking each one is probably $100 a sig, give or take. So 5 seconds, 60. We got is that 12 a minute? So 72 signatures, $7,200 potentially in a 6-minute piss.
What he needs to do is make one more hole, right? And just cut a hole in the bottom of that chair and get his employees to feed him a little snack, give him like a drink with a straw in it so he can, keep signing while he's eating and drinking. And then, everything, whatever happens down below the chair happens down below the chair, and he keeps signing.
Yeah, he needs to get that bag for urine, like a decatheter, And maybe that is what
Oh my gosh.
Todd, go a little deeper.
All right. So before we keep going on this Todd McFarlane conversation, we found ourselves on Sunday at a dinner with our artist, Ben Templesmith, and a bunch of really cool creatives, some artists, and also Thomas, the editor of Spawn.
Thomas Healy, correct.
Shout out Thomas, great guy. Had a couple drinks with him, and he loves Spawn. It was awesome getting to like learn about the creative workflow and how much excitement he has about it. It makes me like want to read more Spawn. But I mentioned this story because Todd was telling it a few times, like not the story, but like his advice about, work ethic. And Thomas mentioned, he's like, yo, pay attention. There's a lot of protein drinks all around. He just chugs those down. But also, Todd is the first person to be like, if you question it, he'll whip out the guns and be like, you see this? That's what the protein drinks get. That's what this work ethic gets. Like, he's proud. And to his credit, Todd looks great.
He is a specimen of health in this hobby, and not everyone can. You can't say that for everybody. So God bless him. It seems like he's always been that way too. So it's kind of more like a lifestyle, not just a recent choice for him. So kudos to that, Todd.
Never thought I'd be talking about holes the first time I had a real conversation with McFarlane.